Hey everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I've got with me Jason and Elijah today. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Hey, what's we've been away for a couple of weeks, so trying to kind of catch up with everything. But what's been going on? What's been news, guys? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Been watching a lot of Nathan Fielder stuff.
Okay,
We finished that. I think I said did we go last week? Did we
we
go
didn't
last
go
Well,
last
we
week.
were
No,
on your
yeah,
stream. We
yeah,
were on your stream for a bit.
Yeah,
just your stream.
we finished up the curse, and now Liz is like, "Who's this Nathan guy?" And so I'm showing her like this old Comedy Central show, Nathan for You.
Okay,
If any of you guys seen it, but it's good stuff. And so it's just been that, and a bunch of Bluey.
okay.
Watching a ton of Bluey. They just dropped new episodes, season 3.
Oh,
Oh,
so you just you're like just
new stuff for Enzo and you
going
to
through
watch.
season. You're like,
See,
oh, sweet.
I'm watching it way more than him. He's like still
Like
too
you,
young.
Uh-huh.
you're like
Yeah,
on Enzo. He's like,
yeah, and like I've been sharing stuff on Instagram. Like my friends who are also dads are like, "Oh man, new seasons of Bluey on
Okay.
season 3. They just dropped on
funny.
Netflix, dude." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I gotta check it out." And they
That's
got
funny.
this cool episode called "The Dragon,"
Okay.
where they're all like sitting around the table, and like the whole episode is just like drawings that they're doing. Like
Right.
each character is drawn by themselves, and so like
Okay.
it's just a mix of different types of animation in that episode. But that one's really good. So I
That's
kept
cool.
hearing a lot about that one. But if y'all haven't checked it out, check out Bluey. It's one of the best shows on television right now.
Okay. Elijah, anything? You've been watching any shows or anything? Or...
no shows. I've been just working at home.
Mm-hmm.
No work's going on, so I'm just trying to
Do
make
some
a
miniature model.
new
Yeah.
batch of miniatures. So I'm just priming a bunch of stuff to like. So I'm gonna make a bunch all in one go this time. I think I'm gonna
Right.
try to do 10 CBGB's miniatures all at one time.
Right. Cool.
So I'm just getting
Nice.
everything. I'm getting all the main pieces, the main faces, and stuff ready right now.
Right.
And yeah, went to the theater last night. Went to
Mhm.
IMAX. I saw IMAX. I saw Queen
Oh,
live.
okay.
Queen live. It was a Montreal Queen live in Montreal.
Oh, cool.
Like concert footage. But it was cool
Right.
to see in IMAX. It was shot cool. There was a couple shots where it looked like proportionally, it looked like they were like on stage. Like it just looked really cool. Like
Cool.
proportionally, like oh shit, they're standing right there.
It's like this.
Cool.
Yeah, they scaled it right, so
That's
it's
cool.
like
Yeah, it
Now,
looked like
was that a pre-recorded thing, or was that actually a live concert broadcast live on?
it was old. It's an old footage from way back in
Okay.
the day,
Yeah.
from like
Right.
the
Yeah, Queen's not a-
80.
Oh, it's not a thing anymore. Okay.
yeah. Freddie Mercury's been dead for a while.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
You might
all
know
right.
Queen from the from
I didn't-
Wayne's. What was
Wayne's
that
World.
Queen
I
for?
don't know. I'm
from
terrible.
the Flash
with these
Gordon
things.
soundtrack. I know. As
Uh-huh.
soon as I talking about music, you're going to change the subject as soon
Flash
as possible.
Gordon.
No,
I'm
go
not
for it.
talking about the Queen of England. I'm not.
He'd
Talking
know.
about
He'd
Queen
know
the
about
I
band.
didn't know if it was a live kind of like some
I know
sort of
you didn't
connected
know.
thing.
I
But
know
I just
you
yeah. I didn't mean it like that.
Live
yeah.
in Montreal. They were playing
Right.
live. They were playing Montreal,
Right. Okay.
and it's live footage, live concert footage. But
From
was
back when they played.
replaying in IMAX. I just happened to
Cool.
see it. I was looking at what was on AMC, and I'm like, oh, I'll go check this out.
Cool.
So I just
Yeah.
ran over because the city walks right over here. So
Nice.
it was fun. I saw that last
Nice.
night.
Cool. I ended up by well, I mean it's been quiet work wise for me the last 2 weeks as well. So I did some rewatching of some shows from the last year. I actually rewatched One Piece all the way through the live action Netflix series that is. Watching it the second time, I enjoyed it just as much. It's a really solid series, and I started watching some behind the scenes of it and bits and pieces here and there, and it's like yeah, the production quality is pretty incredible. It looks like they shot most of their live stage stuff over in South Africa, which surprised me. I didn't realize that, so which was kind of cool.
You're
these are-
stage like sound stages.
Sound stages, yeah. Or at least their main exterior settings. If you've seen it, the whole piece with the ship and the chef.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Well, not just the ship, the actual the wharf where they have the restaurant and all that is
Oh,
actually
nice.
shot. From what I understood, was done in South Africa. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It's like Water
Uh,
World.
okay,
They like
I'd
build
have
it.
to look.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
have
yeah,
to, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
each one
then
of those episodes costs million. What was it, like 18 million or something per episode?
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. As I said, second time round, I rewatched Wednesday, which I haven't seen for since it first dropped, and it's good. It's solid. You know, I'm curious to see what they do with season two. They did actually announce for Wednesday season two, which is starting to go into shooting, is going to be actually more horror oriented in the second season. So I don't know when they start shooting that, but you know, I'm down for it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed one.
Yeah,
I like the anti-pilgrim rhetoric of
yeah,
Wednesday. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
good stuff.
And I also rewatched Picard season three, which was like, you know, if you're into the Next Generation and stuff like that, Star Trek Next Generation, they did a really solid job of that season. It was totally, as Jason would call it, fan service. But in all the right ways, because they hit all the emotional tropes that you'd expect a show where you haven't seen these characters for 30 something years come together with all the cast of the was you know of the show come together. It's like, yeah, it was fun. And then
They
there was one of
explain
the
the aging for some characters, right?
oh, they did actually.
Yeah.
I mean, there was two pieces of that. One was with oh Guinan. Whoopi Goldberg
Yeah, Whoopi
plays
Goldberg's
yeah,
character.
she's a character called Guinan, and she's been around for hundreds of years on
No, she was
Earth.
never aged.
So why
And
did you
of
twist
course,
the age?
yeah, and,
Like,
and because we last saw a Next Generation 35 years ago, and the way she's you know she's got a bit bigger and stuff like that, and she actually even has a comment like, well, I let myself go over the last couple of years. I decided to kind of make it more comfortable. For 500 years, she's been on Earth in the same form, looking the same way, whether it's through a time travel episode or whatever from the original series. And then in the last 30 years, she decided to let herself age more so she could be more. It's like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, whatever. But then,
Yeah.
yeah, I know it was kind of the cheap way around saying that the actress. Had
How did
aged,
they
obviously.
explain Data aging?
Actually, well,
Synthetic. He just ages because he's a robot.
they
Yeah, did he
they
just age
did
naturally?
do some
or-
they did do some de-aging with Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner, because we see a
Not the
slightly
first
earlier
time Patrick
period
Stewart
of
was
them.
de-aged.
Right, but they do a decent enough job that they look like they were from Star Trek Nemesis, which was the last film, which is I think 15 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever, however long ago it was, which kind of bombed in the box office. But Data died in that particular episode, so they do a series of flashbacks, but then they reforge Data in the story over the 3 seasons of Picard, and they reforge a new updated older body, and it's like, okay, that's acceptable. But then the other character, which I thought was the coolest moment, was Q, from the Q Continuum, played by Robert Delancey. Hello, Ted the Bear. How's it going? I still haven't watched Ted yet. I don't have access to Peacock. Anyway, John Delancey plays this imnump being called Q, and he's always been harassing Picard since 35 years ago. And he turns up, and they actually totally de-age him right back to the Next Generation look. And he goes, "Oh, I see we've aged a little bit." Boom, and his face just ages to the current day and age. It was like, okay, fine.
I'll catch up to you guys.
We'll catch up to you guys just to make you feel
I'm
better.
old
It's
too.
like, yeah,
I remember that character. I didn't
Yeah.
watch Star Trek that much, but I remember
Right.
that guy. I
Yeah,
just remember him
yeah.
like being like
up
whatever,
himself.
just
Yeah.
pompous, whatever space
But
man.
it was fun. So I rewatched that, just Picard season three, well, the whole series actually, the season 1 through to 3. So it was cool. And then I did go to the movies, and I watched something that was not anywhere near as good as I would have hoped. I went and saw the film ISS, and for those of you out there who don't know, ISS is the space station, and the idea on the trailer is that World War III or something breaks out on Earth, and you've got a series of Russians, you've got a series of Americans, and they're each told to commandeer the space station. Yeah, it just had no drive. It had no build up. There was no lead into there's something problematic on Earth. It was all done on the one set, kind of thing, which was creatively shot. But when it goes down to the motivation with these characters, I could not figure out what the motivation was between any of these characters. They were not characters. They'd go one direction and suddenly they would just snap and then do something completely different. And it's like, yeah, I don't know what is going on. So
I think that was kind of expected.
yeah, I know. Hello, Fallout the 11th. Curious, you guys have any opinions on Mando, Grogu movies, Daisy? I do.
The
We're
main
going to talk
topic
about
for the day, I think.
yeah, it's the main
Wait,
topic.
what-
We're gonna jump into that pretty soon.
He's like, get on with it.
Very soon. Yeah.
Get to the meat and
I've got some other
potatoes.
things that we've got a couple of weeks to catch up on a
Malloy.
few little bits and pieces. Hey Malloy, how you doing?
watched The Creator yet.
You haven't watched. Jason has not watched The Creator. Oh my
I've been
god.
too busy
Okay.
watching Bluey, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of episodes of Bluey, dude. Each season's got like 50 something episodes.
But yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
think I'll do
They
that
had
this week.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's cool. They did have the Emmys this week, and The Bear took out 10 awards. I still haven't watched it.
Yeah.
You said it's really good, Jason, right?
You didn't
Yeah.
watch season 1 or
We've
2?
all said it's good.
I haven't watched it. Yeah. Beef won 8 awards, which is cool. I mean, I did watch Beef. I like that. Last of Us got 8. Succession got 6. I've never really watched it. White Lotus got 5. And Wednesday got 4 awards. So it's like, they were the main award winners this
Which was White Lotus? I
Um,
think that's the only show there.
I'm not
That
too
one. I'm not.
sure, actually. Yeah.
This Secession
Yeah.
has a Kieran Culkin. Is that who it is? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
He's in,
never watched
you
it.
may know him from
He
Home
drinks
Alone.
Pepsi. He likes to drink Pepsi a lot.
Hey,
What
Anchorman,
if he's
how's
the
it going?
bed?
He wets the bed.
Yeah. But anyway, there's that. The one series that, by the way, this is like the biggest snub of all, but the one series that won no awards over the course of its run was Better Call Saul. It had 53 Emmy nominations and it won 0 awards over the course of its like 6 years or whatever. So
Shame.
which is interesting, as like because Breaking Bad did very well, and Better Call Saul was. I personally, there's a lot of people who enjoy Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad. I thought it was not as good as Breaking Bad. I thought there were things in it that I could not connect with the characters, as much as I did in Breaking Bad. But
It's still weird to me to see.
yeah, it's a lot of snubs.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, but it's still weird to see Bob Odenkirk in that type of role.
Yeah,
It's just hard. Anytime I watch
Yeah.
anything like that, I'm like, man, that's Bob Odenkirk.
Which
Yeah.
you're used to
He's
Mr.
a- he's
Shows, Bob
he was a
Odenkirk.
writer for Saturday Night Live. He's very funny. He did a bunch of stuff. All this comedy stuff is just like outweighs in my brain of like his
Yeah.
his dramatic.
Oh yeah, I don't take any. I've never really truly like connected to the awards. It's always just interesting when something that you have been enjoying watching, either gets snubbed or whatever. There's definitely a lot of political BS that goes on with
Yeah,
the
I
award
think
ceremonies.
what they don't really say much. Like something that gets tons of awards isn't really going to necessarily be a legendary movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
not
like some of the best
Titanic
movies
winning a
got
bunch of awards.
snubbed.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Other things that dropped newsworthy. They started shooting the live action How to Train Your Dragon film. This is the director there. Obviously, some of the set.
Oh
which
yeah,
I'm
they
really excited for.
I think what's his name? Yeah, he's
Gerard
reprising as
Butler's
well.
gonna
He's
be-
the only one
he's-
coming back, right?
Yeah,
Who's
he's the original. He's going to be actually the live action Stoic, which is cool. And then they've
Yeah.
also pulled in
Nice.
Mark Frost as
Perfect.
Gobber, which I
Which
think
will be good.
which would be kind of cool. I mean, it definitely looks like a Gobber, that's for sure. So,
I feel like you could have gotten who was the original voice for him? He had the
I can't remember.
I forgot what his name. I feel like he could have done it.
He could have too.
I
But
like Nick Frost.
yeah,
Great.
But Nick Frost definitely looks like a Gobber. Like really, 100% looks like a Gobber.
Actually, Jobber's like probably the most the first openly gay character in a DreamWorks.
I think. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Craig Ferguson. That's
Craig
it, yeah.
Ferguson. That's it. Oh yes.
Oh, he would have been cool.
Yeah.
Or,
No, he would be cool.
Nick Frost
I mean,
is great.
they
Nick
still
Frost.
might put some of these actors in as other characters. I don't know, but who knows? It's like, but they've started production on that, and I mean,
The
it's
girl
one of my.
from did they cast Hiccup and
Yeah, they have. They cast them
Artemis or
last
whatever?
year, and I can't remember who they are
The
specifically.
girl
but,
is the daughter from Last of Us.
Oh, okay, all right.
What's her name? Astrid Artemis. What? I
Astrid.
forgot.
Astrid is the name of the character. Yeah.
Asterd. Just kidding.
Bastard.
Peter Capaldi is one of the Vikings. That'd be kind of fun. I mean, although he's getting up there. Like, he doesn't look Vikingish. Vikings we expect to be big, and I think the idea is that the reason why Hiccup is such a small character is like he's small boned and he doesn't look like a Viking. I think he's so out of place. But yeah. David Tennant will be definitely too much of a skinny ass Viking too. But anyway, being that case, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's How to Train Your Dragon is one of my most favorite animated films of all time. It's up with the Spider-Verse.
Solid trilogy.
Solid trilogy. Yeah, really enjoy it. The other thing that kind of dropped news-wise interesting was that Noah Hathaway's Alien TV series is planned to return for several seasons. That comes out, I believe, later this year. I know they said there was a movie coming out, but the series never quite got locked down to being this year's release, maybe 2025. But I am curious to see if they're going to do this multi-serial story around the Alien arc. I did read that they're going to probably abandon oh crap, what's the first one? The movie that not Alien, but prior to Alien, the prequel to Alien.
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Oh my god, why do I keep forgetting that name? Yeah. Apparently they're going to abandon some of that story, which is okay. I mean, we'll see. I know Jason's all upset. I agree. I would love to have seen Alien 5, which would have been directed by
Neil Blomkamp.
Neil Blomkamp, yes. That would have been cool because they were going to abandon 3 and 4 and just go straight to 5 and create that as the continuing story arc of the Alien franchise. But anyway,
I think
What happens when you try to take it back to form? People are like, nah.
Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen with this TV show in the sense of its story, but I mean, I'm curious to see. Let's see. Other news, DC news there. I saw Superman will have a sense of humor, says the Lois Lane actress. That's interesting.
It needs to be kind of lighthearted.
Yeah.
It can't be too serious. They're saying that because the last Superman was so damn serious. Like,
I agree.
It's like,
yeah.
geez, man, gosh, like this is a lot of pressure, man. Oh,
Yeah, not one joke in that whole movie.
But the kind of thing comes down, is this what some of the fans were afraid of from James Gunn, who does do a lot of comical one-liners?
I don't. For a Superman movie, it seems
not-
about as it just needs to be balanced. Superman's not like a dark character.
Right.
If anything, that's back to form, anyways.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What we're used to, and like,
yeah.
she had Richard Pryor in.
Yeah. Pryor,
Superman,
part 3,
you know?
majority
Like,
of
I
Richard Pryor
feel like
movie.
the Dick Donner Superman movies are half comedy, anyways. I feel like.
Sure, yeah, but there's also a light-hearted, element to Christopher Reeve's kind of light, humor. There needs to be a little bit of humor to Superman, and it's usually a brush-off humor, and something that's there on the side that you
Like,
see.
you got me. Who has you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm down for that for Superman. They've also mentioned that they're starting pre-production filming in August for 2024 of Batman Part 2, or the Batman the second film, and release October 2025. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna if they keep on those balances of keeping that Batman on that level and keeping Superman on a new level, I'm down for that. We'll see. Not that these are gonna cross universes, it seems, but
Well, I think
we don't know.
Superman needs to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. What was that? Planet. Now the other thing is a lot.
Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I was going to go into that. Well, actually, there's a few movies that are coming out that have had their dates dropped to earlier, so
Which Ghostbusters?
they've moved up. Yeah, well, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is one that's moved up to May the 10th, and Ghostbusters has moved up. A week earlier than when it was released, which I think is March sometime, somewhere mid March now. But I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's soon. That's like 6
Yeah.
weeks away or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, like, there's been so much. Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revolutions comes out at the end of the month, or this week actually. Which part 2, which I actually enjoyed what he did with the first season of his new Netflix series. Animation.
Apparently, there's a Mark Hamill and William Shatner
Yes, William Shatner's supposed to.
like
Wait.
voice wise. I don't know what characters they're playing, but
I think I do know. I think
dialogue.
from what I understand and what I could learn from it, I think William Shatner, is playing Gwildor, and they're introducing Gwildor in animation form, and he was from the live-action 1986 movie of Masters of the Universe. He was the little short miniature guy, originally played by Bill Bartley, and he was like a little tiny short guy and magician and all this sort of
Kind of
stuff.
take over for the Arrow character or whatever that little
Orko, yes,
Zero.
Yeah.
Whatever that guy's name is.
Orko, yeah. There's
Who's Mark Hamill playing in that?
Skeletor.
Oh, he was Skeletor in season 1. Yeah, he was great as Skeletor, which was very
Mark
cool.
Hamill's got such a range in his voice acting that whenever I see him in the credits of a cartoon I'm watching, it's hard for me to guess who he's playing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can tell is when he does his deeper voices.
There's a certain moment of pitch where you hear a little bit of the Joker or a little bit of something there.
Well, I mean, when you watch like Adventure Time, when he plays Skips, and I don't hear anyone in that. Like, I've never heard him do that type of voice before.
Okay.
And then he's also in like Metalocalypse.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
he did like some
wait,
Simpsons.
who the hell is he?
He did that like Coach bombardment,
Yeah.
like in The Simpsons.
So it's hard to tell, man. Like,
yeah. They've officially announced a sequel to Prey. It's supposed to take place, I believe, in either World War I or World War II. That's when the next story takes place. So, that could be an interesting time period to take a Predator movie into that. And I believe they start shooting that later this year. And I think it's got a Netflix release. Or, sorry, not Netflix. Who released it? Hulu. I can't remember who released it. They've got a release for that in 2025, is what I understand. Which I'd be excited to see. By the same director and all that. So there's that. Oh my god, Daredevil. This is the big news from Daredevil. Foggy and Karen are returning to. Yeah, they're back. So, Jason, you know the backstory that they originally planned to kind of kill off those characters in the new version.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Now they're back. Like, your contracts are open, guys.
I don't know if it was for budget. I don't know for whatever reason, but
budget.
They shot.
That's the worst reason. They shot. People.
I think they shot like 5 or 6 episodes already of Daredevil, and they took a look during the course of the writer's strike, and they kind of said, "Wow, this is really boring. Like, Daredevil's not becoming Daredevil until episode 6 or 7 of the series. You don't see him in the suit and all this." So they kind of scrapped everything, and they're starting from scratch. So they're going back into reshooting. I have a good chance Daredevil will not be airing this year. I'm pretty sure they'll be airing it in 2024. But they're bringing those characters back, which seem to be like, the big fans' biggest complaint was the fact that these 2 actors were not brought back in. And so now that they're apparently more or less officially announcing that the Daredevil series prior to this is going to be the style and form they're going to keep it within, rather than changing the format of all that. So, we'll see. Curious.
Yeah, take your time, man. Don't mess this up. Daredevil's good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they should.
Yeah, don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't screwed it up too bad yet. Like, don't screw it up.
Oh, Ironheart? Ironheart? I forgot about Ironheart.
Ironheart, Was that officially on the list for this year, or was that pushed now
I
for
have no
2025? I know it's still in the works. I just
Yeah, it seems like that
yeah.
is getting pushed back.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? When it comes to Marvel shows and Marvel movies now, I'm so lost. They definitely pulled everything down and are rebuilding the board. The fact is, we still haven't sat down and watched Echo yet. Well, at least I haven't. I don't know if you guys had the chance. I wanted to try to do some reactions to Echo, but I haven't seen any of it. So
I've just heard all bad reviews. I haven't heard
really,
any reviews at all.
I've heard some.
Yeah.
I've heard some somewhat
I've
decent.
heard
ones,
its moment.
but,
It has its moments,
yeah.
but it's like just
I just haven't been motivated
watch
to
the
sit
action
down
sequences, and that's it.
yeah, and it's also been hard trying to get us together to actually sit down and just do that. So we should do that and just check it out anyway and see where it goes. Maybe we'll
It's like you
react
could
to
be saying that about anything in the Disney era of like Marvel or Star Wars, and that would
Yeah.
be accurate.
yeah. I'm just least motivated right now for it, but because we came off of such high hopes with both What If and
Loki.
Dead and Loki, yeah, which were so good. It's like
Two bangers in a
how
row.
do you-
That's pretty good.
yeah. So and so there's that. One last thing here quickly before we jump into Ghostbusters, because we want to talk about that. But they just released some posters for Avatar: Last Airbender. Very cool artwork on these. I'm so excited for this series. I mean, I'm still going in wary and careful, but I feel like everything that they've shown us so far is looking so good. So I'm hoping the series will live up to that. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments here. Kingpin scenes are good. Yeah, I don't want to do too much. I'm definitely going to actually check it out. I just need to be in the right mindset, and I do want to react to it with these guys, but I don't think any of us have been in the right mindset to sit down and just go, let's watch this. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Ghostbusters. Frozen Empire. Frozen Empire dropped some image magazines for Empire magazine. And there's a lot of images that have been coming out
Kids
from
are
all this.
kids are getting old.
I know. Look at them. It's like we got.
I mean,
Janine
they're
and
already old, and
Spank-
they're making them look younger.
Oh,
I mean, she's.
Oh no, I'm
you
talking
know,
about the kids from the last movie are getting.
That's what I'm
old.
saying.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, the act. Yeah, they are definitely. Yeah,
they're
getting
already
old.
they're making them look younger. And this was a movie.
I'm sure there's a passage of time though, because they're going to take this from being where was it in Ohio or somewhere in the Midwest or something. They're going to bring it back to New York City. So, but we're getting some really cool images from this. You know, we've got Slimers looking more related to
just
what we've
They're using the old
Yeah.
methods.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's
He's going to be hanging around the firehouse like the cartoon, like eating food and like just getting into stuff.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
looked like.
And they just dropped a
Do you
few other
think-
images. We got sorry.
Do you think are they gonna do like the method they make Slimer? Is it like still a puppet or is it like CG? You think?
That looks like it's a puppet, like someone in.
Yeah, that feels
like,
it feels
like
like
the
a
last-
puppet.
Or CG to make it look like a puppet? Like
I think it's
they'll-
both.
I think they'll do
I'd
both.
love-
Yeah, I think you'll get some close-ups with the actual puppet. Well, I mean, again, I'm curious to see it behind the scenes when they eventually drop the film. Oh, that's just bad. Yeah. But then again, we're getting mostly behind-the-scenes shots. Obviously, we've got cool images.
and
here.
Oswald.
Patton Oswalt's in there. Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, and then Camille. And I forgot his last name. Anyway,
Come on, Nanjiani.
come on, Nanjia. Yes, Nanjia. I'm gonna get those pronunciations right one
Hey,
day.
go back to the last one.
Yeah, this one.
No, the one
No,
where they're in
you're
the office. It's
Oh,
a
The
fun.
Office?
It's a fun game to play.
Oh yeah.
Which one of these actors was in a Marvel movie?
Oh okay.
So you see like two of them out of these people
Oh yeah.
in
Wait,
Marvel
two?
movies. Yeah,
Okay.
Patton Oswalt plays that like
Yeah.
weird.
No,
man,
I know
and
he
then
was.
The girl is she's a younger version of Carol Danvers.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh shit.
It's
Okay.
one shot, no speaking roles really. It's like a
Oh
ghost
really?
art.
I didn't realize that was her. She was really good in this in the first.
Here's one you'll never
Ghostbusters
know
Afterlife.
though.
Yeah.
Her mom is in
Uh-huh.
Marvel too, and I'll give you $20 if you guess who she was.
Her mom, the actress who played the mother. or her mother in real life?
No, her mom in
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
No, I don't know. Who is she?
Anyone? $20.
Yeah,
Can't look it up though.
Yeah, I'm not looking it up. I'm
what?
just gonna think of
No,
what-
I don't know. Who was it?
It's Proxima Midnight. She played she wore the mocap suit.
Oh,
for one
okay.
of Thanos' children.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice.
A little nugget for you
a
guys.
little
Interesting.
Oh,
his
little
little-
nugget. That's a
yeah.
deep
Uh-huh.
cut too. It's like you never would have known. that
Uh-huh.
she was,
No, that's real
Proxima
deep cut.
Midnight, dude.
trivia there.
Yeah. So check this out. This is where
One
Ghostbusters
person
clashes with the animated series of the real Ghostbusters. They never used to have the ghost traps on their backpacks, did they? In Ghostbusters the movie? Can you remember that, Elijah? I think they had the ghost traps separate from the jetpack, right?
I think they hang there's an attachment that can hang off the back. Like I think Ray is usually holding it,
Right.
but I think there's an attachment for to hang it on the back. Like maybe in the running
Right.
shot, it's hanging.
Okay. Because
But-
in the animated one, they actually pulled them off from the backpack and threw it down. But you can see here that Vakeman's got the ghost trap attached to the side there. On the actual, it looks like the ghost trap is actually on the backpack there, right?
Oh no, that just looks like the side of the pack with
okay.
caution stripes on the side of it, like
All right.
or maybe in addition
Yeah, I
to
don't
his
think
pack.
I don't think that's
Oh,
the pack.
okay.
That's not a
Right.
trap though.
Oh,
So
it's not a trap.
that would be facing. That would be the top of it.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I think
My
it's the
question
side of
is,
the
why
pack.
did they ditch the dark jumpsuits from the
The dark
second
jumpsuits?
movie?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
back-
it's funny
back
that at
to
this
the-
point they they got red.
Yeah.
They have them in the red jumpsuits. It's like
Mhm.
it would be cool if one of them was in the dark gray. Like if Winston was in the dark gray, and they at least. I mean, because if they're going to make it like the TV show, the
Yeah.
cartoon,
Right.
it would be kind of cool if they all had like a slightly different color
Yeah.
or whatever,
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
like a dark gray. Like
It worked for the toys,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
That's a
Bill Murray
great
still has his boots untucked, like he's just still casually got his. He's not tucking in his boots for nothing. He's like, I'm not tucking in my boots.
Either way, I'm hyped for this film. I'm excited for that one. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I'm more
Yeah.
excited to see this than the last.
Yeah.
It seems like this is gonna be
I
a
still
thunder ride of a
enjoyed.
movie.
I still enjoyed Afterlife. Very
I enjoyed
much.
it.
But
It was
I'll
cool.
need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it since it came out on the big screen, so I'll need to do a recap.
I don't know where it's streaming. I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
I have the Blu-ray. I picked it up. I just haven't rewatched it, but I will rewatch it before I go into that. Yeah, and then one last thing on Ghostbusters, guys. They released a Funko Pop of the demon creature, but now it has a name. Garak, Garraka.
A woman with a dress.
Isn't that a Star Trek character?
No, there's Garak. No, I think this is called Garak.
Oh, Garaka.
Garaka, yeah. I guess that's how it's
A
pronounced.
frost
yeah.
demon, a frost ghost.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I'm curious to find out. Again, it's
Leave
like,
it to the
I've been
toys
avoiding.
to reveal
I know.
stuff.
That's the
Yeah,
biggest problem these days.
toy
Usually,
gaming.
Lego are the first one to drop a name or an action figure or something.
Well, it's always been that way. The toys have always been. Toy makers have always been working
Garaka.
on the toy before the movie. It's just
Sure.
now that we have people to leak it and post it online where people can see it within seconds.
Garaka. That's how you pronounce it. Okay, good to know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, guys, jumping into some Star Wars news for a bit here because we can talk about this for a little bit. Back at the Golden Globes, Mark Hamill met Natalie Portman for the first time ever. So technically, he's now met his mother. Now he's met his mother. How he met his mother.
Either
Which
Natalie
is-
Portman has high heels on, or Mark Hamill is very short.
Holy crap!
Yes, you're right. I didn't
How
realize.
short is he?
I always thought she was pretty short.
She is tiny.
She's
Yeah.
She's tiny.
Yeah, she's tiny. Man,
So she's got to be wearing super high
Mark
heels.
Hamill.
I saw that the other day, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
even
She's
think
got to
about
be
that.
having like
Well,
stiletto
I mean-
heels on.
I think she's it's both. She's wearing heels and he's short. How tall is Mark Hamill?
I don't
think
know.
he's
I mean,
probably about 5'9", but like
Yeah.
she's like 5'2" or
also, when someone gets older, they kind of get a little shorter. So
Still,
maybe he's
but, like,
shrunk
I
a
Oh
don't
little.
know.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Elijah, you're right. 5'9" is
Uh,
his height.
Wow.
How do you know this? It's off the cuff.
That's funny.
I'm guessing. I'm just
Uh-huh.
that was a mental
That
math
was a
of,
good
like,
guess.
It was like a Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark
Uh-huh.
Hamill's got to be about
Uh-huh.
5'9".
Yeah, Harrison's
Like,
like
it was good
6'1".
But anyways, she's
Peter
wearing
Mayhew's
heels.
7'3".
Anyway, I just thought it was just kind of fun little thing, but it was like whatever. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess it was, Dave Filoni had a screening up at Lucasfilm of Godzilla -1. And if you've seen anything about this, the director of Godzilla, I can't. How's that?
Yamazaki.
Yamazaki. Yamazaki. Yeah. He
Shiro.
he actually did mention in an interview that he would be very interested in doing Star Wars. It'd be like amazing.
Of course.
So
Who would not be interested in doing Star
yeah,
Wars?
that's it. Yeah, and so
Unless
here's
you're
the
like
thing.
unless you're
Star
Quentin
Wars?
Tarantino or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need Star Wars. You're like, pretty much anyone would want to do a Star Wars anything.
Right. But here's the thing: it's like, yeah. So
I'd be
soon
interested in
after,
doing Star Wars. Well, of course you would.
Dave Filoni was like, from what I saw, Dave Filoni was, well, you know, went to the premiere of this film when it came out at the end of in December of last year, and obviously thoroughly enjoyed it. And then they had a private screening up at Lucasfilm. So I'm going to imagine there's been a bit of conversation between Takashi and Dave Filoni about doing either an episode on the Ahsoka series or on
Talking and doing a
you know,
project,
or
maybe
a
not
project
doing
or a feature film.
or like having doing a Star Wars project and getting it canceled.
But here's the thing. I mean, I would really generally love to see a director from overseas like that just take on a Star Wars film and direction role and see what that person can do with it. And I'm curious to see, because I did actually very much enjoy the Godzilla film, -1. I thought he did a very well done job with the directing. And did you get to see it, Jason, yet or not? No, you haven't been to the movies, so yeah, it's you've got to check it out.
That's when everyone's raving about. It's like the best Godzilla movie ever made.
Yeah,
basically? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm not.
I
I was never into Godzilla.
No, me
especially
neither.
growing
That's
up
the
on it,
thing.
'cause it was so cheesy and like
Right.
so stupid. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's like the
but-
stuff that Elvira would show like on like Channel 13 and like
Yeah.
Saturday morning or whatever. It's like I was never into it. It was too cheesy for me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like just by getting some fresh blood in there of somebody could be kind of fun to see as well. Yeah, I agree. Follow the 11th. There are definitely a lot of people that are losing faith in Star Wars, and that development is falling apart. The last couple of years have definitely been rough on stuff, but again, it's like I'm going to stick with it for the long term. I'm a Star Wars fan through and
Unconditional
through,
love
so
for Star Wars. Here.
I want to know what Anchorman, what toxic YouTubers are you watching that are destroying your love for Star Wars? Is that what you're
Star
saying?
Wars theory.
Oh, Star Wars theory.
Oh, Star Wars theory.
No,
I saw you quote him the other day. He's like, "There's too many
God.
screws and bolts."
Don't. Yeah, no, I don't like to mention. I don't like to send any promotion towards that man because I think he's really quite an antagonist.
Wait a minute. Who are you talking about?
Star Wars theory. He's
A guy called Star Wars Theory. He proclaims that he is a huge
Polarizing.
fan, but he's been very polarizing in recent years online with stuff. But he's a huge fan of the prequels, and now everything that comes out is not his Star Wars. It's kind of funny because it's the same thing that happened when the prequels came out.
Is it meaner-
our generation was saying to the prequels.
Jason, is it meaner mockery than Red Letter Media, or is it like different than how they approach?
Those guys, I enjoy those guys.
Right.
Their mockery is earned. This guy is
Yeah.
just
Just an idiot, just ranting, just a guy ranting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the perfect example, right? I didn't really read into it because I've just ignored most of it, but oh god, yeah. Star Wars Theory was the guy who hired a grifter psychologist from Fox News to come onto his channel and try to say that women don't like Star Wars. It's like, oh, good god. I just, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't. I can't. Anyway,
If
I
you're
don't want
gonna
to go
watch
into any
any,
of that.
if you want to watch any like Star Wars YouTubers, some of the best
Hmm.
one is like Eckhart's Ladder. They got some really good
Hmm.
stuff on that channel. Brent, I've been trying to tell you to watch them
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while, but
I
like
mean,
they're
Kyle
good
Katarn
stuff.
does some good stuff too. So anyway,
Yeah.
there's definitely some good guys out there that do stuff. Lord Dagavir, Kyle Gatan have got some really good stuff on their channel. But yeah, anyway, along with that, I'm going to just throw some random bits and pieces of Star Wars news that I've just seen drop in the last week or so. Andor season 2. Diego Luna said at the Emmy Awards last week that he had about a week left of shooting on Andor. Whether that means the show has a week left or whether he himself only has a week left of shooting, but as he is also executive producer of the series, Andor season 2 should be finishing shooting very soon, and when that happens, I guess we'll get that in 2025 and see how the remaining part of the story goes. We know how it ends, but yeah,
Can't
this
wait.
is that. So there has been a lot of rumor and speculation over stuff over the last 2 weeks about what is real, what is not. Well, Dave Filoni posts a story, this image here. The story continues referring to Ahsoka in Ahsoka Season 2. Lucasfilm have announced that Ahsoka Season 2 is definitely going ahead, which I'm happy for. I know you guys had some issues with Season 1, obviously.
Whatever, he's gonna continue it. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, well, it got a through story. So, and usually that's the other thing about Dave Filoni that people don't understand. Usually, like season 1 of Rebels started off kind of very rocky for a lot of the audiences, but it picked up and ramped up from there. And that's what Dave Filoni does do well. He sets up this stuff, and there was definitely a lot of setup that they didn't conclude, but unfortunately, they also didn't kind of make us avatar, make it. We wanted more from season 1, obviously, to kind of whet our taste buds into where season 2 would go. And it seems like they gave us very little compared to giving us something. So hopefully season 2 will give us something a lot more and start to do some really cool stuff with it. But then you've also got this other good thing going on. Star Wars announces the movie of Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau. Yes, this is also an official piece of news. So along with that, we also got, well, what's happening with Mandalorian season 4? And the biggest thing has been going on is that people are speculating that season 4 scripts have been written, that we're actually going to get a season 4 of Mandalorian 2. But there is nothing official from Mandalorian season 4 that actually is
So
going to
is
be
four
happening.
becoming a movie? Season
4
four
is just becoming a movie from Lucasfilm specifically. That's all we got. See, again, another rumor was they're going to do 6 episodes of Mandalorian season 4, and this is all rumor. I just want to kind of put that out there.
What do you think is what's giving them the choice to do movies instead? Is that for money?
I think
They got their chance of
financially,
making more
yeah.
money
For
from a
the
movie than a show.
budget, yeah. I personally
You can
think it
always stream it
is.
right after they make the movie. Get
Well,
the money from the
they
theater and then stream it right
yeah,
afterwards. And then you got
they are doing that from what I understand too.
Disneyland
Which
tie-ins
yeah,
and
yeah,
just whatever,
yeah.
nonstop.
I personally feel like that's kind of like you're going to get the ultra fans going to the theaters to see it on the big screen, and then you got the regular people who are just not going to care less. And when it comes on TV, they'll watch it on TV. And I feel like that's just becoming the mentality of filmmaking these days when they decide they're going to drop something streaming at the same time they're going to drop a feature film on the big screen. And I think that takes away, it takes away from the big screen experience for a lot of people, but B, it seems to be this whole conversation of it's a changing world. Younger generations are not as invested, it seems. It seems as to going to the big screen to watch these films when they could simply sit at home and watch it on television. And this is not a healthy thing in my opinion. But that's where I
It's a
go.
trend. It's a trend that I think will change eventually.
Well,
I don't know.
No, I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm excited about them doing a movie. It makes me
sure,
think that they'll take bigger risks
Right.
for like
sure.
game changers as far as storytelling and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because like I don't know, thing I noticed about the show The Mandalorian, and
Right.
a lot of Star Wars shows kind of falls victim to this, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
tiptoeing around the source material because they're not sure
Sure.
what they're saving for movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's going to get like a theatrical release. They'll have probably put more eggs in that basket, and therefore like
Sure.
have more better storytelling and stuff like that. You know,
But there has been some, like Mandalorian has had some really, especially the first 2 seasons, had some really great storytelling elements. They just didn't.
oh yeah, love the first two
And-
seasons.
Yeah, and I feel like that they can still give that on television, but I think I said even when we were watching it and doing reactions to you know to the latest stuff of everything, we didn't do reactions to 1 or 2 because we weren't on the line at that time. But I feel like that I would go to watch these episodes on the big screen. I would pay to go watch these episodes on the big screen the week that they dropped, because it felt so cool just to see some,
And just
things like that.
I mean, seeing the theater just for the uninterruptedness of it, and just to
Sure.
see it all strung
Yeah.
together versus.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it too. I mean, it's
I mean, they've done that with like Game
a
of
little bit more
Thrones
empowering.
episodes. you
Yeah.
know? Like they've done like theatrical releases for some of those.
Yeah.
Like yeah,
Not a fan of 7, 8, and 9, huh? I'm still kind of waiting to see how time passes those films. I'm curious. And I say that because
Time heals all.
here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. It's obviously it's never going to live up
definitely.
to the original trilogy, and to some people, the prequels will not live up to the original trilogy to a lot of people as well. I personally enjoy the prequels, and I enjoy the original trilogy. I'm still sitting there simmering on the sequels. There was things I liked about it. There was things I didn't like about it. I could say that with all the Star Wars films. There's always something that is entertaining and new and fresh.
What didn't you
that
like
we
about
had.
Empire Strikes Back?
Very little. But there's
What?
very
What,
little.
if anything, did you not like? About
I would have to stop and think about that. I would have to stop and think
I
about
know.
that. Okay.
There's
Just saying,
some peaks in
Okay,
that.
but Return of the Jedi,
Okay.
Return of the Jedi could have had a bit more better structure in some ways here and there. It still
Yeah,
lives up to
Return
be
of the
the
Jedi
least.
is
So there's all these ups and downs.
right.
Star Wars could have moved at a faster pace. Obviously, it didn't, and it was setting things. So there's all these things. But when it comes to the sequels, when it comes to what we are getting in the TV shows right now, where they're trying to do this even blend to what we got from the sequels, and the fact that they're jumping in to shoot the Rey series that was going to take place after the sequels. So this would be like Rey's story, the sequel of the sequel.
I don't think that Rey movie is going to get in that. I'll be surprised.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
mean-
going to be made.
I don't know. They keep saying a bunch of Star Wars movies are going to get made.
Oh no. This one is locked in. This is yeah. They go into hang on a second. I think I had some info there. Where did I see that? I thought I had information on the Rey. Oh, maybe I didn't.
It's hard. It's hard to defend Rise of Skywalker though. Like I could easily.
No, it
defend
is. I agree. I could
But
defend,
like Rise of Skywalker,
correct. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree. Rise of Skywalker.
They really lost it there. I mean,
Yeah.
just every
Yeah.
part of it, every portion of that movie.
it was peak Star Wars mishandling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I agree with that.
But
The
the other
open-
two
I mean,
I could
every-
defend. I could defend the other two pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
They have their moments.
Actually,
Yeah.
when I break it
Yeah.
down, the Last Jedi actually was the best of the trilogy, in my opinion. And
I've been saying this whole
Now,
time.
it's taken a while, and that's why I'm saying the sequels are still trying to simmer in my blood. I've watched.
It's got Luke Skywalker's in it. Mark Hamill's in it. Like, there's
No,
portions of that
I've
movie
been
that aren't
defending.
good,
I've
It's
been
not just
defending.
that. It's-
I've been defending Last Jedi forever.
It
Yeah.
is the one I like the most of the three, but
Right.
still there's portions of it that I just wish I could just cut out like portions of that
Oh,
movie.
there are definitely things that don't work in The
Yeah.
Last Jedi as well. And I say that in the line of how George Lucas conceptualized the Star Wars universe. There are things that didn't work that were going against what George Lucas had set in his standards and rules and things like that. There's also styles of the way the film was shot that I didn't enjoy. I didn't like. And again, this was not this was not the fault of Ryan Johnson. This was actually more the fault of J.J. Abrams, that he left off at the end of the first film,
Hanging on the
where you're hanging on a point where you have to continue almost at that moment in time.
Right.
And the reality is, Star Wars has always taken a period of time, like a time jump forward by
At
a
least
year or
3
two.
years.
Within each
years
story
behind.
after
arc.
breaks. Yeah,
And so it kind of limits where you have to start off at the beginning of of episode 8. And I
Right.
feel like there was just this not a great, like everything like takes place the next day, literally, because you got the new Republic,
yeah, it's happening at the same
leaving
time,
the planet,
basically.
trying to escape from the
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I prefer a time jump in Star
Yeah,
Wars movies. It
that's
can't be directly left off.
I let that one slide because of the way it ended and before, and I was just like,
Right. Yeah.
it may break the mold on how all the others are done, but
Sure.
isn't that a good thing? It didn't really take
Yeah.
away that much. It's still like, yeah, there were some moments
I
in Last
the
Jedi that
yeah.
were all weird, but like
Yeah.
mostly that's probably pretty
Yeah.
solid.
And I've been saying this for the 11th. Yeah, the one problem with Luke Skywalker's story, from my perspective, is that for us to see a character to develop, we need to see, even if they fall from grace, we need to be able to see as the audience that moment happen. And when we see that moment happen and then pick up sometime later and go, oh, we understand why this character is in this position. We never got that. We got a few flashbacks in The Force Awakens that Luke lost the Jedi Temple. Well, what's the most powerful story there? Luke just lost the Jedi Way and the Jedi Temple. That is a more powerful story than picking up on Luke Skywalker feeling all grumpy and down about himself,
Right.
a little further, 15 years later after that event. So it feels like that The Force Awakens should have been about Luke losing the Jedi Temple, and then you pick up episode 8 sometime down the track where Luke is forced to, be dealing with those emotions. That would have been a far more interesting story for me to watch, in my opinion. So, let's, if they're going to go the route of Obi-Wan Kenobi, where Obi-Wan falls from grace, goes into hiding and makes a comeback, they are repeating that same story once again for Luke Skywalker, and that also was another downfall. It's like we just copied everything that we, So yes, would like to have seen a different outing for Luke Skywalker? Absolutely. We got what we got, and unfortunately it is canon. So all they can do around it, both in these shows of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and these prequel stories that are leading into that time period, at least try to give us a bit more perspective as to how and why these characters might be in that direction. And I, for one, am excited to see the Rey story pick up, hopefully several years later, because it's been, 10 years in real life now since, 8 years.
The
by
whole
time we
problem
say-
with Rey continuing is that she is a Palpatine.
No, okay, yeah, and then
it's
giving
just
the
the
giving the
thing
name
that,
Rey Skywalker. I know.
It's just the thing that,
Yeah.
she is a Palpatine by blood,
Sure.
and she's a Palpatine. It just,
Yeah.
that is just, she's
Right.
not a Skywalker, and if she's going to continue the story, it would only make sense that she would go bad, because
Yeah.
she's a Palpatine.
Yeah. This is a good question, though. Do you think that the audiences will turn out to the Rey movie, though? No respect
don't-
towards David.
I don't know.
I
think
do.
it's the biggest thing.
I think
just
it's-
don't- how would
no.
they work that
No.
out?
Yeah, okay. All right. This goes back to the child element. My nieces and nephews grew up with Rey Skywalker being their Star Wars, right? As the generation before us grew up with the prequels, and my generation and our generation grew up with the sequel, with the originals. So yes, I think you're going to have kids who were maybe 8 or 9 at the age of the Rey stories of Force Awakens and all that. You're going to see those kids now be teenagers, and if they're still into something of Star Wars, they're going to want to see their version of their Star Wars be dropped in a Rey story that picks up at the same time, 10 years later or whatever, as the story hopefully will take place. And I'm hoping they will give us something very different that we've seen before. And they realized that they copied as they did a copy in the sequels, as far as I'm concerned, to a certain degree. We got what we've already seen before. We want to see something different. We want to see something fresh, and we got that from Mandalorian. We got something fresh. That's just my personal opinion. You guys have any opinions on the Rey story coming out?
I mean, it's done well. It should be fine. It should work out. Just make a good movie.
Yeah.
Whether it's like could be anything, but if you just write a solid script and do a good movie,
if they can write their way out of that hole or whatever that it's in, if it's good, it's good. But like, the whole thing with me now is like they really wrote her into a. I don't know. Her making her a Palpatine was like probably the worst choice they could have done.
See,
I
agree with that. I agree.
It is, but like I feel like
why did you do that? Like
what they've done is like they've kind of left Star Wars in an awkward position. So like everything from like the Mandoverse to like Ahsoka now has to line up with Palpatine coming back, and they're kind of stuck with that.
Well, yeah, that part, yes. But
somehow,
which sucks. Like it sucks that you can't break away from that.
Yeah.
They can't. There's an obligation to kind of be like, oh, he's making clones.
I personally, I have the agreement there, but on top of it, it's like they took away from the whole aspect of the Chosen One with Anakin Skywalker because Palpatine came back after, and granted, it was like. It wasn't even a Skywalker that took care of the Palpatine in the end. It was her, it was a Palpatine that took care of Palpatine.
That's why I've been calling it the Palpatine trilogy. Like
right? Yeah, you've been saga. Yeah. Right,
because it gets more. He's in more movies than any Skywalkers.
But it does. Yeah. It diminishes Anakin's journey.
It makes his whole storyline.
Correct.
It takes it from the Anakin storyline to the Palpatine.
Sure.
The life and times of Senator Palpatine.
It makes like the
I
original.
Don't hate them. Those just things that didn't work.
It makes the original trilogy and the prequels mean nothing.
Right.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
After like making Palpatine come
That's
back.
my problem.
Yeah.
It's like all of that was for nothing.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Battle of Endor didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, again, the Anakin, the Chosen One, doesn't do anything because he really kind of didn't become the Chosen One. It was Rey who was the Chosen One. It was like she takes care of Palpatine. That being the case, I argue
I argue that Anakin is the Chosen One in the fact that he brings balance to the Force because he thanks to him they killed off all the Jedis. That's
not balance.
That was how they. Yeah, that's balance, right?
Yeah.
After Anakin, there were only like this many Jedi, this many Sith.
Right.
It was way more balanced, and that's what they could have foreseen, Yoda. But you're too weak.
Sure, but the question here is, where will the Rey story pick up in the sense of we've got beyond Palpatine, hopefully, with. How will Rey pick up a new Jedi Order and create it her own that doesn't copy what has come before? Because if you copy what's come before, it's doomed to repeat itself.
We've lost our path. We've lost our way with the Star Wars movies because it was supposed to just be like anyone, like some dirt farmer from Tatooine became the savior of the universe.
Yeah.
We've gone so far from that. It's been now it's all like prophecies and like foretold stories and like destiny of someone else instead of just like people coming from nothing. That was like the whole spirit. That was like the whole spirit of Star Wars, right?
Sure.
Like anyone being able to instead of having to be part of a bloodline.
Yeah.
So I think the best move that Star Wars could do is like get away from that.
Yeah.
And
well, again, that's what
like eliminating like, oh yeah, you're you mean something because you're a fucking Skywalker or a Palpatine or something like that.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have to be a bloodline story.
Right. Oh, you're a Rockefeller. You're a
whatever. We've kind of fallen into that starting from the prequels.
Oh,
you
live in the Trump family. Oh, okay.
Because there's like this kind of foretold
but
stories of like destiny and stuff like that. No, that's not what Star Wars was about.
Right. But the advantage to Rey and doing a whole separate, and I believe it's going to be a trilogy of the Rey stories, what they kind of are hinting towards. If we do get a Rey trilogy, then that gives us something new, and the new thing is that we are getting a very powerful bloodline child. The Jedi are not supposed to reproduce. It's that's the idea of it, because as you said, it's supposed to be the random kid who has force sensitive powers who can be taken out of the group and be taught how to become a Jedi or a Sith or whatever it may be. We are getting a very powerful entity to begin a new bloodline, to begin a new not a bloodline, a new order. So I'm curious. Part of me is very curious to see how they do a story to create that new arc, and how they would do something different than what we've seen before. And I think they're also aware of that. I'm hoping they're aware that Lucasfilm will get a new arc.
The best way would just be to like kind of
wipe the board.
Have Rey kind of just like take a back seat in the new trilogy and introduce new characters from there, and she's kind of just teaching people. And maybe she does turn evil, and then she has to be vanquished by someone new.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't mind that.
I hope not. Yeah.
Don't look behind my shady family past history. Just list the. Oh yeah, she's in an academy, and they're like, "Hey, aren't you the granddaughter of Senator Palpatine?"
See, like,
no, that's not true.
That's the thing about The Last Jedi is like Rian Johnson wiped the slate for any of that stuff, because like Rey was just supposed to be a nobody, and there was like this kid Jedi at the end of the at the end of the movie saying that like, oh, they could come from anywhere.
Yeah,
and then JJ has to
see that. Yeah,
and then JJ has to come back in. It's like, no, she's a Palpatine now, and it's like,
but that was from the 5 or 10% of the fanboys out there who are freaking bitching and moaning that A, they got a female lead, and B,
well, from what they originally saying, the footage of Last Jedi, they just filmed so much and they edited together like they could have like had 4 or 5 different storylines they could have edited together.
Oh, totally, yeah.
What I would love
to not even have that.
What I would love if with the Rey movie is that if they just redo the last one and then like do the original script that they had ready for it.
That's unfortunately not going to work.
Script is so good.
So
and it's
guys,
way better, and it would have like wrapped everything up perfectly for like not only the trilogy but the whole saga.
Yeah. So where we're saying what you're talking about there, honestly, is this other thing that came up in the last couple of weeks, which has been a Star Wars what if.
Star Wars Visions is. I mean, that's kind of like what Visions is, right?
Visions is definitely that. Well, to a certain degree, but Visions are still taking place in the canon.
Those are canon.
Characters. Sorry. I'm thinking of not Visions. I'm thinking of Tales of the Jedi. My mistake. Tales of the Jedi is canon. Visions is definitely a concept.
I mean, we were talking about that before, but I'm just like, wait a minute. Visions is
but
like
if it's what if,
it kind of is. Yeah.
No, if
what if is like they're taking actual characters and saying, what if Yoda didn't go to Jedi school?
You're right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
It would contain all the main characters if it was a what if. Like if Luke died on Hoth.
Yeah. Right, exactly, yeah. So the question
or if Anakin actually raised his family, Yeah. Like if they actually if him and Mace killed the Emperor right then and there, he would have made Jedi Master.
Sure.
And you get to raise his family.
Elijah, if there was a Star Wars what if, what would you want to see as a story specifically? Whether it's a prequel story, whether it's a current day story, whether it's around Luke's skull, what if Luke turned bad, or what if Anakin turned good? What would be your what if in Star Wars?
Maybe a what if what if Han Solo worked for Jabba the Hutt, or some sort of what if Han Solo paid off Jabba the Hutt like right away, and there was some other storyline where he where Han Solo just went in a completely different role or whatever.
Luke would have died in that timeline.
Yeah, Luke would have died right away. As if like,
what if Anakin had the high ground? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Luke would have died. See, like we could kind of map this out on what would happen. Like Han Solo wouldn't get frozen in carbonite. Luke would have died on Hoth because Han Solo is the only one who goes out to save him.
Okay, but so this would be a story you'd want to see, or what would be a?
I think that would be fun.
With this,
what if in Star Wars the first episode, like Han was there to pay off Jabba the Hutt. He had the money, and that scene of him going in front of the Millennium Falcon, he paid him off, and he gave him the money, and then what happened from there? No, I mean just whatever. Like he didn't pay him off.
Right.
Whatever. Something he pays him, and he Jabba the Hutt sends him on another job or something. Like I don't know. I think it would create a whole different like storyline. It takes Han Solo out of that story.
You're right.
Out of falling into that line of story.
He didn't fall in love with Leia.
Yavin would have been blown up if he didn't come back and save Luke.
That's it. It would create a chain forward reaction. Okay.
The rebels would be gone, and it would just be an Empire world. It shows like how essential Han Solo is to the original trilogy.
Okay.
That if you were to take him out, pluck him out, like right at the end, nothing good would have happened, and like everyone would have died.
Like Han just got his money, Jabba the Hutt got his money, Jabba the Hutt used it for whatever, and then they just it's that money that Han Solo didn't pay that like saves the galaxy, something like that.
Yeah, if he left, that would have just been like end of the rebels.
Yeah, but it's gotta be something like that would have change the storyline completely. It has got to be. I mean, that's what Jason was saying, but
Jason, if you had a what if in the Star Wars universe, what would be your what if?
Oh, I said it. Anakin and Mace Windu kill Palpatine.
Okay.
Right there on Coruscant.
Yep.
And then Mace Windu's like, "Thanks for telling us this. This is what's been clouding Yoda this whole time. And like you're a Jedi Master now." And now it's like you get to see him raise Luke and Leia as Jedi also. If you see, you'd have to deal with the Jedi's deal with him having kids. They're like, oh, you are. I just said you're a master, but you had kids. It probably would have changed the whole course of like Jedi and all of that,
Right.
But that would be such a turning point that would just change everything.
Yeah.
As if like Jedi, like, because you can always pinpoint like that moment when he chooses to kill Mace.
Yeah.
Is like,
the pivotal moment.
It's the one pivotal moment that would have changed everything.
Totally. Yeah.
Which always bothered me.
Yeah.
Like it should have been a longer cook, a slower cook to that, but you could always pinpoint to that one moment.
Right.
And so if they both just killed him, it would have been great.
Yeah.
And then you get to see like a alternate timeline of like Padme still alive and Luke and Leia.
I've never, and I've said it before, I've never been a fan of the concept of what if in Star Wars, and I only say that because there are so many characters, background characters, droid number 6 in the background has a story, and human number 10 in the background has a story. Everybody has a story in the Star Wars universe. Granted, they may not be as exciting, but they've created a universe, or George Lucas created a universe where anybody could be a smuggler or a bounty hunter or whatever. And you get all these diverse stories from other characters within that universe. And you don't have to necessarily see a what if Luke Skywalker, whatever, had a different story. But if I was to pick one, it definitely would be, what if Anakin had, and again, recently it was like I saw this image of Anakin and Padme and Luke and Leia as a family, the kids were like 10 years old, and I was like, okay, I would really like to see that story. I would like to see what would happen if Anakin had a normal family childhood story, that he was accepted by the Jedi Order, that he did get married and have kids, and how that would change the Jedi Order. Because for millennia, the Jedi are not supposed to have kids. It's not they're not supposed to love, they're just not supposed to have a family, because you would create a more powerful Jedi. What would happen if two Jedis got together, like in the sense of like Luke and Mara Jade? And I think that was a big thing that George Lucas always never wanted. He hated Mara Jade because the idea of two Jedis having children down the track would be so dangerous and to the element. So maybe that's what we get from the Rey story. What if Rey falls in love with another Jedi and have kids? She
already fell in with another Jedi. She was smooching on
Finn.
Whatever.
Ben Solo.
Making out with Ben Solo.
Oh, Ben Solo. Yeah, there you go.
Like,
there you go. Yeah,
smooching,
so
fight and like, let's make out.
But that would be an interesting story to be told in the Star Wars universe. What if two Jedi got together, had kids, and did have a family? And even though Padme was never a Jedi, we got Luke and Leia. But what if we did end up with, what would be the fear that the Jedi had originally avoided those temptations become in a story arc? I think that is a great way to explore a story of the Jedi. So
you want to bring more sex into Star Wars, is what I'm hearing. You want to bring a lot of Jedi sex into. You want like hardcore Jedi sex.
No, it's about the.
I'm just
how is the family unit changed if you have two Jedi having a kid? Or why didn't the Sith ever get together with another Sith and have a child Sith? As a child, well, they'd probably have to kill him because because they'd be afraid that the child would actually kill them at some point in the future.
That's the thing they don't tell you about the dark side. Your junk don't work.
That's funny.
But actually, if you even go further back, because you could always trace like Anakin becoming Vader down to the moment of Qui-Gon Jinn dying. That is the Battle of the Fates. Well, so if the Fates,
Qui-Gon Jinn was the father element that Qui-Gon Jinn was the father element that Anakin needed and didn't.
Yeah, I know, and that's where you could pinpoint the moment where that timeline starts of him on the road to Vader. Was the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, the Battle of the Fates. So if the Fates were to turn the other way, and Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn beat Darth Maul, they have a totally different thing. They probably would have found out, like Dooku would have still had a rapport with Qui-Gon Jinn, and they would have found out about Palpatine, and it would have been like a lighter timeline. But if anything, you could pinpoint that moment of Qui-Gon Jinn dying as like what led, kind of like the domino effect that led to the Empire. So if Qui-Gon Jinn lived, would be a cool storyline to see how things would have turned out.
So, do you guys kind of want the downer about this whole Star Wars what if?
The what?
Do you want this downer on the idea of the Star Wars what if? Yeah, there's a downer to all this.
No. It's not happening.
It's definitely not happening. It's not official news through Lucasfilm, and it actually came from this. One of the Lego sets decided to create I guess either an Infinites or a what if concept of characters, which includes the Falcon. Which was very dark. Hang on, was this the article I was looking for? Hang on a second. One of them was. There it is. Sorry, my bad. A Dark Millennium Falcon is a new toy that's been made, including Dark Ray, which we did actually see, a white Darth Vader, C-3PO, evil C-3PO, evil Chewbacca. This is all part, apparently, of a new Lego set that's coming out. But it's got nothing to do with the films. And so people took that information as, they're going to be doing a what if in Star Wars. But Lucasfilm have not just have officially not announced anything, but they've only given us two things that are coming out at this point, which is Mandalorian, the feature film, and Ahsoka Season 2, as being the most updated information that is in motion of going forward. So if we do get a what ifs, or as it was originally in the comic books, as Jason once reminded me, the Infinites, which was parallel worlds, it may not be for some time, but I think they also understand that what if may not and doesn't necessarily have to live in the Star Wars universe. And again, it's only because, from my perspective, Star Wars is not multi galaxies. It's not, it doesn't play like the Marvel universe where they can use the multiverse. It's not a multiverse in Star Wars. It never played or read as a multiverse.
I'm not asking for necessarily a multiverse that would interact with the rest of it. It would just be like fun stories.
Oh no! Would it be fun? Yes. But do we need
that?
It?
I'd be no. I mean, we don't need any of this.
Sure.
Really,
right.
We don't need anything that Disney put out, honestly. But if they want to know what will get people and get people interested, I think a what if would do good, especially since the Marvel what ifs do well, and the it'd just be done the Jedi, what were the cartoons,
the Tales of the Jedi
Visions.
Oh, Visions. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
It was
enjoying
like-
the Tales of the Jedi too. So.
Tales of the Jedi is good too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the closest we're getting to like
Yeah.
anything like that, but they're actually canon stuff. But it like
Right.
they're just filling in gaps, the Tales
Yeah.
of the Jedi, and I like the Dooku focus. But
Yeah.
I don't know, Star Wars What If wouldn't be a bad idea.
Right. You're right. Yes, of course, the Filoni movie, which is a few years down the track, but it seems like they're pushing the Rey film to be out by 2026. So that's the most recent update. Filoni
What
movie is
is the
definitely happening,
Filoni
and so
movie?
is, huh?
What's
Suppose
the Filoni movie gonna be?
it's going to be the end all and be all of everything from Ahsoka. I assume possibly Mandalorian.
I think
don't know
that branches them all in together.
branching them together to an all-out war with Thrawn is what I'm going to assume is going to happen. Thrawn's going to build up his army in the current universe. We've also, of course, got the other story, which is officially still going on, which hasn't started yet, of course, with director the prequels. I've got complete mental block in his name. James Mangold's film, which is the 25,000 years ago around the first.
Oh yeah.
So
Nice.
we've got that story too. That's official too, but that also hasn't anywhere near started production of sorts. I think it was Lucasfilm were pushing at the beginning of this year what is going into production this year, is where I was going with that whole thing. Which again,
crazy
is the
that-
Mando movie and.
Now that you mentioned like what the Filoni verse would be, it's like all the Star Wars eras are defined by their bad guys.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's no, that's one of the cool things I'm excited for the Rey film is how do you create a new villain that can be equally to or as powerful as someone like the Emperor or Vader or Grand Admiral Thrawn.
You make her the villain.
He's a Palpatine. It's gonna be like.
So is Palpatine inherently evil? Like, was his father evil? And like, it's like a genetic. It's like inherent evil.
I don't.
Or just like the power.
I think the idea with elements of
you go
evil,
mad with power. Once you get power, and like once you got the power,
Right.
people are
That's the
listening
thing
to you.
with Jedi. Like Yoda had a lot of power, but he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but something like a Palpatine is a force of evil rather than. I mean, yes, it's a physical character, but the idea of
evil.
He's
Yeah.
a guy.
guy.
It's
a
but it's
bloodline
always
like Jedi's.
but
It's
it's
a bloodline
but-
of evil.
But there's going to be a new force of evil coming in the future. There's going to be a first force of evil in the past. You're going to get this, and you're going to get this division between who the Jedi are and the Sith are. At the beginning, it's going to be this weaving thing through the timelines where evil and good evil and good keep going through each other and crossing paths. So
You're just doing yin yang now. Okay.
I am. Yeah. Good and evil cross paths over and over again. So in the elements of what we are going to see, I am excited to see post Rey stories kind of, for the next 1,000 years down the track. I'm curious to see if Grogu grows up 500 years later and we get a story about Grogu, decides to abandon his Mandalorian ways and actually go back to the Jedi ways 500 years from now. How would that?
Suck.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see that. Max has got a few other things going on today, and so Max will be around. He floats around. He just is not with us today.
He's in line in a comic book sign.
He's in line. Yeah. Oh, he's probably in comic book line today. Yeah, a lot of his comic book lines
Something like that. I don't know. That's what he's doing, probably.
Probably, or he's working. It was one or the other. I don't know. But either way, there's some bits and pieces like that. Whatever. Anyway, that's about everything I kind of had, at least. Anything you guys want to add about Star Wars information? Probably not. I don't know.
I got nothing to add.
You got nothing to add. All right, fair enough.
I can't wait for Andor season 2.
Yeah, that's still 2025 at this point, so it's a year off. But
I still want to go to Disneyland and see the ride.
Yeah, me too.
Been,
I know Rise of Skywalker. Yeah,
Rise of Skywalker, and I know that they have Mando and Baby Groot out there walking around now. They're characters, So
Oh,
Mando
really?
and Groot are now like
Oh, it would be
characters.
oh yeah, Mando and Groot. They actually, yeah, I believe they had Fennec Shan as well, but they took her off the floor apparently. So they've got other actors, other
It's a
people dressed up
crazy
as
like
characters.
it's crazy you just thinking going to Disneyland and seeing like a murderer walking around.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Like, hey, man.
yeah,
And like you
yeah.
pretty much have space Nazis just like going around telling people to carry
Hmm.
on.
Yeah, it is kind of funny
Move
watching
along.
the anyway. Anyway, guys, I think we'll probably call it here. But everybody out there in chat, thanks for joining us. It was a kind of very fun, extreme little chat. It's always fun to talk Star Wars and sit down and try to, you know, we have all these. I need to make up more topic points this year and
Yeah.
Star Wars topic points that we can
Oh, you
actually
know what a
go up
good topic
against for
point
sure.
is? Like you brought it up like when you were talking
Yeah,
about Picard,
right.
but like when fan service works.
Sure. Yeah,
Like
we'll do
that
that.
would be a fun topic
Yeah,
to talk about. Like
yeah.
the
We should
best use of
within
fan
within
service.
fan service would be fun, but also like what does work in each of the Star Wars films and what doesn't work in each of the Star Wars
That
films.
would be fun to do too.
Yeah, because we really kind
Because
of
I know
That could be
yeah.
done.
And I'll tell you the 9 major films. We take
'cause
the
I
9
brought
major
up
films and we go through and
well, not long ago on one
yeah.
of my casts, like we were talking, as perfect as a film that Empire Strikes Back is, there's still little weird moments in it, like that other kiss from Leia on Luke after she saves him.
Sure.
It's so weird.
But it's weird to watch now, but at the time I don't think George Lucas even knew they were brother and sister, did he? So it's like
and like the weird thing was that none of us could remember it. I was telling you guys about, but none of you remembered it.
Oh, the second kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That and like the time dilation for how long Luke was actually training with Yoda doesn't make sense. So
yeah, like just a couple weeks, a
in
couple
the,
days.
in the Star Wars, the perfect Star Wars movie also has flaws. So
yeah, totally. Yeah, no, but we definitely will do that. We'll definitely endeavor to try to make some more topic points on Star Wars because it seems like we get a lot of cool interaction from everyone who's watching. So, guys out there, thank you for watching, and Elijah and Jason, thanks for joining us for today. And we shall be around next week. We'll figure out what's news for next week. So
don't forget to pick a target.